Aloha. Your favorite friend with questionable character, Aloha, Mr. Han. Coming to you on this Wednesday night, courtesy of our fine friends at From the 108. And, of course, Jack Daniels. So I wanted to talk about a couple things. This has been a busy week in baseball in general and for the White Sox. So I wanted to bring a couple of the things I've seen and things that have been going on and talk about them here. The first is today is the non-tender deadline. So the White Sox basically have tendered a contract to most of the players. Some of them that they've tendered a contract to include Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez. They did negotiate with Jace Fry and sign him to a one-year deal for $862,500. But unfortunately, there were two casualties of who were non-tendered, and that is Nomar Mazara and Carlos Rodon. Mazara, there's really not much to say. I mean, they just got him in a trade last year for Steele Walker, and did not go well for him, I guess is the best way to put it. So he was non-tendered. Good luck to him. Hopefully he can unlock the potential he has someplace else, just not against the White Sox when he plays against them. The other one was Carlos Rodon, and I'll be honest with you, I was ecstatic when the road to Rodon, for those who remember the 2014 draft, led to Chicago. I thought for sure he would not reach number 3, which is where the Sox were drafting at that year after a 99-loss 2013 season, when they should have started the rebuild, to be honest with you, but we won't go there. And I did not think he would get past Florida or Miami, the Miami Marlins at this point. I didn't think he'd get past the Marlins, but when the Marlins selected Tyler Kolek with the number 2 pick, I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe that Carlos Rodon fell to number 3 to the White Sox. This was a premier left-handed college pitcher with a wipeout slider who some said was ready to pitch in the major leagues at that moment. He did make his debut the following April of 2015. I was actually in Toronto for work when in the game he made his debut in, but I do have a signed ticket from him from his debut game. Looking at it, I think there's a lot of factors involved here. I don't think everything was his fault. I think that some of his mechanics were messed with, and of course the White Sox system of teaching everyone a cutter and making sure they throw the same way and throw the same pitches and everything else. I'm not going to go down that road, but I hope he catches on someplace else. I'm sure that he will. I hope that he unlocks his massive potential, or the potential I think he has, and I hope he does well, except against the White Sox. So good luck to both of you. Thank you, and hopefully you catch on and are able to have a long, distinguished career, except against the White Sox. So moving on to the next item is the new coaching staff was announced this week, and a couple of holdovers, Kurt Hassler in the bullpen, Daryl Boston at first, Joe McEwing switching from bench coach to third base, and Frank Menachino sticking around as the hitting coach. And then, obviously, the Hall of Famer brother is the manager. Get over it. He's the manager. I know you don't like the pick. I know you don't like him because it wasn't A.J. Hinch or because of things he said in the past or because of his age. But guess what? He's the manager. Deal with it. And I'm going to say something now that I know some people will get very upset about. If you really thought A.J. Hinch was going to be signed off by Jerry, you know nothing about this organization. Nothing. Told everyone who would listen that was never going to happen. Oh, they're changing their tune. They're turning the no. Jerry's the owner. Jerry has final say. Like it, don't like it, doesn't matter. He has final say, and he doesn't care what you or I think. So, there was a couple comments made by a couple of the coaches that I really found interesting and exciting. One in particular I found really exciting, and I'll get to that in a moment. And if you've seen my Twitter page today, you probably know exactly which comment it was, because based on the message I put on there and the GIF I put on there. So I'll start with Miguel Cairo, who talked about La Russa and said he was ecstatic to be back with Tony. He had been with Tony before in St. Louis back in the early 2000s. And by the way, McEwing was also a player for La Russa in the late '90s, early 2000s for St. Louis as well. And I do know that La Russa is a huge McEwing fan. So, Cairo talked about how Tony was the most prepared person he's ever met, and then how he manages the game before the game is even played. So he has a script laid out of what he expects to happen, when he expects it to happen, and what he wants to do, which I think is a great thing to have. Granted, I do it in my day job too. I do this too. I have a ton of meetings with people. I go through the meeting in my head saying, this is what I'm talking about. This is probably what they're going to ask. So this is what I want to say before they ask it. So it looks like I'm smarter. It's how it works. So he's doing the same thing on a much different, on a much different area, different level. How many of you have said to yourself, oh, I know I'm going to bring this up, and I know so-and-so, the first response is going to be this. It's exactly what he's doing in his head. It's the exact same thing. Different scenario, but it's the exact same methodology that he's doing. So that was reassuring to hear. And I will say this about La Russa. Nobody can deny that the White Sox have a tactical edge with him sitting in the dugout, because he has seen more baseball and probably forgotten more than almost all of us will ever know, or and to the first part have seen. And he is smarter than 98-99% of the people he is going against. It's the truth. You don't become the third winningest manager of all time by not knowing what you're doing and how to approach things. So it was reassuring to hear that from Cairo. Ethan Katz talked about how he's reached out to the pitchers. And by the way, thanks to James Fegan. James Fegan threw a little nugget in there that gave something away when he asked the question about, has Katz reached out to Giolito, Lopez, and some of the other pitchers? Keyword Lopez there. And he said yes, that he's seen video and he's been working with them on some things. That was the dead giveaway that Lopez was in fact being tendered. That was the dead giveaway right there, because if he wasn't, why waste your time with him? So I knew yesterday that Lopez was going to be tendered, and I told a couple people that as soon as I seen that comment, I'm like, Lopez is staying. Here's the proof. And also, thanks to him, thanks to James Fegan for that. The next comment is the one I was talking about on Twitter that got me really excited. And it was from Frank Menachino, and he made a simple statement: World Series or bust. And I put, if you haven't seen it on Twitter, I put a gif of George Costanza talking about how it moved. It's from an episode of Seinfeld where he eats some cantaloupe from Joe's fruit stand, and he talks about how it was like getting a shot at B12 and how it moved. So I had to put that out there, but that's how I felt about it. It was like, this is great. They have a goal defined. It is not, oh, we want to play 500 ball. Oh, hopefully if we win our division. No, it's World Series or bust. I would have liked them to have said it's win the World Series, but getting there is pretty darn good too, as a goal too. So I'll take it, and hopefully we can see some World Series in our lifetime. Some more World Series in our lifetimes for some of us. And then, there's one other thing from the press conferences I wanted to talk about, and that was Lucas Giolito. I'm making a prediction right now. I think a contract extension with Giolito will be announced within the next 2 weeks. It's a bold statement. You can hold me to it. They don't have him on that press conference if they're not either far along in the process or done with the process. They're just not putting him out there like that. And he wouldn't. Do you think he'd really agree to go out there unless he knew that this was a longer term thing? I mean, honestly, think about it. So I personally feel that there'll be an announcement within the next 2 weeks of a Lucas Giolito contract of some kind. So we'll see. And one other thing I wanted to note about Rodon being non-tendered. He was the number 3 pick in the 2014 draft. The number 4 pick was by the Chicago Cubs, who said that if Rodon had not gone to, if the White Sox had not picked Rodon, they were picking Rodon. The number 4 pick that year was Kyle Schwarber, who also is a victim of today's non-tender deadline, who has been non-tendered by the Cubs. And one more sense of a little ironical thing there. I find it funny that Chris Bryant, there was questions about Chris Bryant being tendered, non-tendered. Remember, they held him back for this year, for 2021. That was the extra year of control they wanted when they held him back in 2015. I find it ironic that this whole thing goes on in the extra year of control that they held him back for. I just find it ironic. That's just me, though. But one more thing I wanted to talk about was free agency, and a comment I've previously made. I made the comment that the White Sox would spend money in free agency, because why would they hire Tony La Russa and not give him everything he needs to win? Why would Jerry do that to his buddy? I personally think that this is Jerry's last hurrah. He wants to win a World Series in the next year or two, and then he's putting the team up for sale. That's part of the reason why he's doing this. My opinion. So take it for what it's worth. But when I say spend money in free agency, I'm not talking about going to get a Trevor Bauer, as much as I think they should, because frankly, I'm of the mindset that you make your luck, you don't hope for luck. And I think getting someone like Trevor Bauer is them making their luck, but they don't tend to go down that path, especially when big finances are involved. They tend to hope for luck. Hope for luck being, the Indians got rid of Francisco Lindor, that should help us. And Nelson Cruz signed away from the Twins to Seattle, or whatever it is. That's what I talk about between making luck and hoping for luck. Now, with that being said, I don't see them spending on like Trevor Bauer. I think they should, but I don't see them doing it because they have in their minds what they think is a number 1 and number 2. So their focus would be more down the rotation on a 3 through 5. And please God, no Jose Quintana. No. I've gone through my reasons enough times. I'm not going to do it again. No Jose Quintana. So I don't see them. I see them like targeting someone like Odorizzi. See, what I could see them doing, to be honest with you, is someone like an Odorizzi, someone like that, and then going to get a Brad Hand and trying to improve the bench a little bit. What I also see them doing possibly is not only trading for Lance Lynn, I see that, but having Joey Gallo in that package too. Joey Gallo is like the white whale that the White Sox want. And they had a chance to get it before, and I'll get into that in a second. Joey Gallo's like the white whale, and if you don't know what I mean by the white whale, read Moby Dick. He is the left-handed power bat that they so desperately craved since they let Jim Thome get away. They tried to address it with Adam Dunn, and that failed miserably. And they've tried to get these other left-handed batters, and it's failed miserably. So he's the one, Yonder Alonso was another attempt at that. So he's the one that they're going to look as being their white whale. But the white whale was out there a couple years ago, and they monumentally whiffed on that whole adventure because they chose to go after Manny Machado instead of Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was the white whale. Left-handed, right fielder, power bat. He's a guy you could market. Look at how much the ticket sales went up in Philadelphia in the first 24 hours after he was announced. He was your white whale, and you didn't even pursue it. You went after the wrong guy. Manny Machado was the wrong guy, and then you screwed that up too. Hint? Here's a hint, simple hint. $300 million guaranteed is more than $250 million guaranteed. Remember that. Simple mathematics. So, you screwed that up. You didn't go for the guy you should have, who would have addressed all your problems. So you wouldn't have been recreating this, having the same issue over and over and over again that you do. So free agency, I really don't see them going after the Springer. Doesn't make sense because they're going to want a left-handed bat. That's why I see them more so trading for like a Lance Lynn and a Joey Gallo in a big package. I don't know if that'll happen. I could see it. But we will see because you have cost certainty with them. because you have locked in contracts. And the reason I say Lance Lynn too is because he's only got a 1 year contract. I think they're looking at it as, let's get someone in here for 1 year, so we give these guys being Cease, Kopech, Dunning, a year to progress, and hopefully they're ready to fill in 2022. That's how I'm thinking they're looking at it. I do think they'll spend money. Don't get me wrong. I do think they'll spend money. I just don't think it's the kind of money. It's not going to be where people want it and on who people want it to be on. So I hope that makes sense. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Take care. Have a great day. Bang.